Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Arlington in-gathering and online service. I am Chris Johnson, and I serve on UUCA's Board of Trustees and as treasurer. I'm so glad you are here with us this morning. Ours is a community of various abilities and gifts, many genders and sexual identities, a community of diverse cultural, racial, and class backgrounds. Whether you've been coming to UUCA for many years or new to our community, whether you are here in person or joining us online, I hope you feel welcomed and at home. Whomever you may be, we welcome you to our community. Our theme today is Hanukkah, the promise of light. December is a month filled with various religious rituals and celebrations. The sacred in its many forms is on display around the globe. This morning we will lift up the religious traditions of our Jewish brothers and sisters and hold them gracefully alongside the values and beliefs of Unitarian Universalism. I invite you to join us after each service today for our in-gathering person community hour. We will also have our virtual coffee hour after the 11:15 service. If you're joining us from home virtually, please feel free to come to our church after service for in-person community hour. I hope you can join us so that we can connect and get to know each other better. If you are new to UCA and would like to learn more about our community, I hope you will reach out to someone on the ministerial team, Board of Trustees, or someone at the welcome desk. Please join us today for the holiday craft fair that benefits UUCA. The fair is in Fellowship Hall and in the center. The fair runs today until 4 o'clock. Also, if you'd like to sign up for the Secret Santa, you can do that in the back of the sanctuary. Thank you for joining us this morning, and I hope you would join us at our gathering hour following the service. Thank you.
Good morning. You probably know that I am not Reverend CTC. Reverend CTC is become ill this morning, and so she was here for the 9:15 service, but will not be here for this service. So I'm going to ask for the grace of the congregation as I attempt to deliver the sermon that she prepared and do some of the readings that she would have read this morning as well. So I appreciate your patience and grace throughout this service. Out of the din of the city and the days of busyness, away from the noise of our crowded lives, we come to rest in this moment, in this place, set apart from the never-ending to-do lists. We choose to embrace the seventh day, a day of rest. We come. Remember, you have chosen to be here. Something in your life led you to arrive here right now. Whatever tasks and cares await for you, for this brief time, simply rest. Allow your soul to be nurtured. Let the waves in your mind and heart gradually subside. We come together wholly and whole. Come, let us join in worship and community together. So I'm going to read the invitation for the chalice lighting and ask you all to read the response as I light the chalice. We gather together as a community of memory and hope to celebrate life and its infinite possibilities for love.
Good morning. I want to tell you a story. I came to UUCA with my parents in 1952 when the congregation and I were both 4 years old. So we have a history. When I arrived, there was a single building, now gone, and the RE classes were held in a nearby elementary school. My earliest memories were of graham crackers and pineapple juice. I never forget snacks. Over the years, we added an educational wing to the original building and then built and expanded this beautiful sanctuary to bring everyone under one roof. As the congregation and the buildings grew, so did I. I did everything: RE classes, children's choir, pageants, youth group, youth Sunday, as well as my first social justice actions. This is where I learned values and ethics and found role models who demonstrated them. Even after I left for college and lived in the Boston area for 20 years, this remained my spiritual home and I visited often. In 1989, I returned with my young family. Then it was my turn to teach RE and serve the snacks. I even acted in Chalice Theater with my son. I watched my children grow and learn in this community. And now I get the tremendous joy to watch your children grow up here. And thanks to our many programs, I'm still growing too. Throughout my lifetime, UUCA has been a home for my spirit and body, a precious, beloved community of new and old friends, a sanctuary in difficult times, and always a source of comfort, strength, and joy. I see this vibrant community and this building and our beautiful campus as a culmination of the hard work and commitment of my parents and the founding generation, and of all of those who came after. Their dream was to make sure that the light of our chalice and the love in our hearts would continue to shine throughout this community and the world. And it's now our task to carry that mission forward. I ask you to think about the story I've shared. I ask you to think about what role you want to play in the story of UUCA now and in the future. And I ask you to join me in making a financial commitment to this congregation through the Capital Campaign. I want UUCA to be here and be strong for more lifetimes. Thank you.
Good morning, and my name's Denise Kapler, and this is McGinnis Williams, and we're co-chairs of the Capital Campaign that Barbara just referenced. And I want to say thank you, Barbara, for telling such a great story and for providing an introduction for us as to why we're here to give you all an update on the status of the campaign. But the first thing I want to do is thank everyone who's already accepted a visit from one of the members of our team.
At its heart, as you know, the Capital Campaign is about connecting and reconnecting with each other. The guts of the campaign is about paying off the mortgage and about building back our endowment fund, which is our savings account that we've had to dip into at times to make mortgage payments.
Our financial goal for this campaign is $4 million. That's what we need to pay off that mortgage and to restore our endowment. So far, we have pledges and gifts from 158 individuals and families in this congregation, and so we're more than 60% of the way there. We've raised almost $2.5 million. So again, a huge thank you to everyone who's already made a gift. We're also using this time to ask people to renew their annual campaign pledge as well. That's the money that we use to go to the regular operating funds of the church and are equally critical to the success of our mission as a church.
We're feeling a bit of urgency right now because we need to know by the spring if, heaven forbid, we have to refinance. So we need to know by sometime in February how much money we actually have in hand to pay off the mortgage. And the reason I say heaven forbid is that we're paying $100,000, a little more than that, every year in interest to the bank when it could be here with us to do the work of the church.
So given that sense of urgency, we're going to be sure that we keep you updated on how we're progressing towards our goal. So we're going to put this up in the lobby. I hope you all can see it. This balloon represents the liftoff that we're hoping to achieve, and you can see from the colors how far we've gone so far. So we're getting to the top of this balloon is going to require participation from everyone in the church. As I mentioned earlier, 158 individuals and families have already made a gift. There's more than 800 people who are a part of our congregation, and that means that there are still many of you that have not made a gift yet or that we haven't even contacted yet. And so I wanted to take a moment today to let you all know that what our greatest need right now is for more people who will work with us on this campaign and make visits. So we want to have individual meetings with everyone in the congregation. We have 25 people right now who've agreed to be visitors with us, and we're hoping that at least 30 more will help us as we move forward in the next phase.
We need all of us. We need all of us to give our time or our talent or our treasure to this project. If we're not all engaged in the campaign, its success won't feel like it's ours. Giving our time, our talent, and our treasure is part of belonging to this wonderful, wonderful congregation, and it's part of belonging to each other.
And so, as part of being a community together, I hope that when you hear from us, whether it's to ask you to accept a visit or to help us in being a visitor, that you'll say yes. But you don't need to wait to hear from us. McGinnis and Marcia and I are all here today and usually every Sunday. And so feel free to come find us and let us know if you're ready to be part of this in one way or another, time, talent, or treasure. We would really appreciate your help. And again, please just say yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our wisdom lesson this morning is It's Not What You Believe, But How by Gary Kolowski. Babies don't believe anything. Babies aren't born Buddhists or Baptists or believers of any sort. But soon after we arrive in the world, we start to gather ideas. We pick up beliefs and ideas about people and animals and families. We collect ideas about stars and comets and about how it all got started. We accumulate beliefs about good and bad, right and wrong, what's healthy and unhealthy, and what's important in life. All these beliefs, which we get from our parents and playmates, from the TV and Sunday school, go into our belief bag. Now, most religions define themselves by what they believe or by what's inside that bag. Christians, for example, believe in Jesus. Muslims believe in Allah and the Prophet Muhammad. Buddhists believe in the Four Noble Truths. But Unitarian Universalists don't have just one set of beliefs. What makes us different is the way that we Unitarian Universalists carry our beliefs, because there are different ways of holding your belief bag. For example, some people hold their bag like this. They clutch it close and make sure that the top is tightly sealed because they don't want their beliefs exposed to any new ideas that could threaten what's inside. They've got their world wrapped up in a nice, tidy package. And because their bag is all closed up, we call these people closed-minded. On the other hand, some people are just the opposite. They don't pay much attention at all to what goes into their bag. For them, one idea is as good as another. And if other folks believe it, or they read it on the internet, or they heard it on talk radio, it must be true. Because they carry their bag in such a sloppy manner, we call these people sloppy thinkers. And then there are people who carry their bag like this, like a club they use to hit other people. What's inside their bag may sound nice and sweet. For instance, I believe in peace and kindness and the golden rule, but they use their bag like a weapon. Oh, you don't believe in peace? Why, you nasty person, shame on you. But none of those is the Unitarian Universalist way. We carry our bags like this, on our backs, with the top open, so that new ideas and experiences can get inside. Maybe we carry it around on our front, so that old beliefs can be tossed aside from our bag as needed. We might carry it in front so that we can see and examine what goes in, and to make sure it makes sense and fits with the other things we know. We want to see what our neighbors think and share our thoughts with others. And above all, we never use our beliefs to bully or beat up other people. You see, that's what it means to be a Unitarian Universalist. So, the next time somebody asks you what the people in your church believe, you can tell them this. The people in my church, we are Unitarian Universalists, and we think about how we hold our beliefs and how we live our beliefs. Because how you live those beliefs is more important than what you say you believe. That's what truly counts. Our next reading this morning is Christmas Comes Whether You're Ready or Not by Cynthia Fraudo. I am always in a bit of shock when December 1st arrives on the calendar. I always feel like there should be at least another week beyond Thanksgiving before I can even contemplate the next holiday. I think, however, that beyond the incredible demands of this season, The hardest part to reconcile is that the heart is not always in sync with angels and presents and babes in the manger and the ho, ho, ho that is Christmas. Sometimes it feels like you just go through the motions because that's what's expected. Sometimes I wish Christmas would take a vacation and return midwinter next year. Yet there is something compelling about the fact that Christmas comes no matter what. The celebration of the birth of Jesus comes no matter the season of your heart. The Prince of Peace, the baby that would bring a message of universal equality, compassion, forgiveness, and love, is reborn again and again and again, no matter our state of mind or being. Indeed, in spite of it. Perhaps that is the real miracle of this season, that hope and possibility cannot be denied. As I contemplate the state of the world at this moment in time, I cannot think of anything more needed than a reminder of our potential to bring peace and healing and possibility into our lives. We don't always feel it or see it or think that it is there. But then there comes Christmas, even when we aren't ready to receive it. A reminder that no matter what season of the heart we are in, no matter what struggles or grief are consuming us, Christmas will not let us forget that light was born in us, even on the darkest nights of our soul. So even if you can't deal with all the razzle and dazzle and expense of this holiday, at the very least, open the inn door and prepare the manger of your heart for the gentle but powerful message that is seeking to be reborn in you. Never forget that you are a child of the universe, and where there is life, there is light and love and hope waiting to be reborn again and again and again. So turn on some twinkling lights, pour yourself a glass of eggnog, or not, and wait for that angel chorus to announce your heart's rebirth. Today's prayer is adapted from the text of UU minister, Reverend Dr. Wayne Arneson. Spirit of life. The beginning of the holiday season is filled with temptations to conspicuous consumptions and pleas for generosity. The contrasts between the values represented by this time of year and our ability to fulfill them reminds us how great the distance can be between aspirations and actions. The month has begun with the observation of World AIDS Day, and Human Rights Day follows next week. They remind us of those at home and abroad who are imprisoned by disease, poverty, and discrimination. The messages of liberation, dignity, and joy that come with Hanukkah and with Christmas are hard to hear, even when they are conveyed by gracious acts of outreach to those who suffer. Our prayer this day, then, is that we may be gentle with ourselves and with others as we do our best to navigate through the tricky shoals of December. May we avoid being so distracted with our own problems and duties this year that we forget the wider web of life of which we are a part. May we go about our rounds of preparations and festivities with a light heart and with boundless patience. May the dissatisfactions that are part of our lot be our companions, but not our masters, as we cross the holiday threshold. And may we be open to and ready to share both the joys and the struggles of this season. Amen.
delay to compassion. Sopla vola sur in amor, hasta ordea la justicia de la vida. Arraigame, liberame, fuente de amor, ven a mí, Spirit of love, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of love, come to me, come to me.
In the month of December, our Share the Plate recipient is the UUCA Minister's Discretionary Fund. This fund is used by UUCA's senior minister to support the emergency needs of our congregation's members and to provide scholarships for lay leadership training and other enrichment. Please know that the offering will be divided. 70% is directly for Share the Plate recipients, and 30% will support the ongoing work of UUCA. We want to make it simple for you to give. You can easily offer help by using one of the methods listed on our website, uucava.org. Again, thank you for supporting UUCA. We are grateful. Will the ushers please come forward to collect the offering at this time?
שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם
Would our ushers please bring the offering forward? We bless and receive these gifts, opening our hearts to true generosity. Let us be grateful when we give, be it time, talent, or treasure, for giving brings us joy. Let us be grateful for our needs and the experience of vulnerability, for they teach us how to receive in community and love. Let us be grateful for those who share their gifts to nurture this congregation, for it takes a blessing to make a difference together. Thank you. Our second reading this morning is You Are the Holiday Miracle by Gwen Matthews. As December opens up before us, we welcome in the gift of reflection. We turn toward our holiday celebrations and search for common threads of meaning. We begin with Yule, the winter solstice, and we are invited to explore duality, cycles, and seasons, and to witness the Holly King being overcome by the Oak King. Yule reminds us that we all partake in this miracle of renewal. Hanukkah, the festival of lights, commemorates a time of miracles when the faith of the Jewish people sustained them to reclaim their holy temple and keep the light of the menorah burning for 8 days. Christmas, the celebration of Jesus' humble birth in a manger, offers us the chance to revisit the miracle of birth and the desire to find saviors to heal the scars of humanity. Here in our church, you are just as much a holiday miracle. You're as much a miracle as the turning of the earth, as persistence and dedication to a faith, as the creation of new life. We see the love you give to others, the space you create to hold one another's joys and sorrows, and the generosity and spirit you entrust to this community. You are the holiday miracle. This community is one of miracle makers. I feel like this is some version of principal for a day, but minister for a day. So thank you all. So these are the words that Reverend CTC has left with me to share with you today. And I hope that you appreciate, as I do, the irony of the first sentence. This is one of those Sundays when events of our world call the preacher to change plans. The preacher, students of preaching are told, must walk into the pulpit carrying a Bible in one hand and the newspaper in the other, a saying attributed to the 20th century theologian Karl Barth. A Unitarian Universalist minister, of course, needs to carry in her hand, at least metaphorically, not just one sacred book, but many, including the wisdom of the poets and the physicists. And these days, to know what's going on in our world, the 21st century preacher had better have in the other hand not only a newspaper, but her smartphone and maybe a tablet too. No preacher can ignore the events of the day. It's been another hard week in our world. Today, both my responsibilities as a preacher and the ponderings of my heart call me to speak what we, in these past days, have witnessed and heard. This week, a divided Supreme Court heard arguments Wednesday on the fate of Roe versus Wade, the court's 1973 decision that legalized abortion in the United States. By the end of the day, it seemed like the right to abortion in the United States appeared to be on shaky ground. While much will be said about this subject, what remains clear to me was distilled down to a quote I read from Solicitor General Elizabeth Prelogar, representing the Biden administration. She said that it's an incredibly difficult choice, and one that the court for 50 years has recognized must be left up to women based on their beliefs and their conscience and their determination about what is best for the course of their lives. This bears repeating. She said it's an incredibly difficult choice and one that the court for 50 years has recognized must be left up to women based on their beliefs and their conscience and their determination about what is right for the course of their lives. A woman's right to choose what happens to her body is her decision, period. A decision in the case is expected by summer. In the meantime, I invite each of you to write the justices, join the protests that will continue on the steps of the Supreme Court, and support what you believe in. This is indeed a time to stand up and be counted. Many religious communities follow a liturgical calendar, which means for the most part, the subject of the sermon is determined by the date. And what is done by the minister is mostly contemporaneous on that. It is essentially commentary of that assigned text of the day. In our UU churches, we have far fewer such dedicated Sundays than one will find in liturgical-based communities. Because of this, when sermonizing, I have a bit more freedom. I can approach issues of the day or topics. Like a hamster in a wheel my brain won't let go of. I think about problems that bubble up as worthy. We do have a calendar of sorts. Think of water communion, Thanksgiving, Easter, flower communion. We do have Sundays that appear on the calendar each year. We do embrace several rituals and customs as we move through the church and fellowship and society year. This morning, I'm going to talk a little bit about Hanukkah, light and faith and hope, and the things that we are ready to do to stand for them. Last Sunday evening, November 28th, was the first night of Hanukkah. It will end tomorrow evening, December 6th, when the sun closes the day and we slip into night. Hanukkah is also known as the Festival of Lights, or the Feast of Dedication. During these 8 days, Jewish families and individuals around the world gather with friends and family to honor and commemorate the recovery of Jerusalem and the subsequent rededication of the Holy Temple in Jerusalem, following the Maccabean revolt against the Syrian Greek army. Some of the things included in the festivities and gatherings are lighting candles each night, singing special songs, reciting prayers, eating foods fried in oil, and playing the dreidel game. Today, of course, the most prominent and best known symbol of the holiday is the menorah, the 8-armed candelabra. And it is the menorah lights that we typically think about when we call Hanukkah the Festival of Lights, which is no surprise given that Hanukkah typically falls around the darkest time of the year. But the earliest source we have of this term suggests something very different. It's not the physical lights of the holiday that we are commemorating, but the restoration of the ancient temple practices that, thanks to the courage of the Maccabees, was again brought to light. This story is a story that has been told over time, when the people of the Holy Temple had enough light to keep the lamp lit for only one day, but the oil lasted for 8 days, long enough to make more oil so that the temple's light would shine on for all of us to see. The Hanukkah story is a story of faith and hope and a miracle, but it's not all sweetness and light. It's a complicated story of battle and sacrifice, a story about a time of fear and terror when tyrants tried to snuff out the light of a people and of a faith. The Syrian Greek army was coming. They reached Modin, which is about 12 miles northwest of Jerusalem, and they determined that the local leader, Matthias, who was a member of a priestly class, should be an example to his people by sacrificing a pig on a portable pagan altar that they had brought with them. The elder refused, and he also killed the Jew who stepped forward to do the Syrian's bidding, and then he killed a king's representative. With that step, a rallying cry was issued. "Whoever is for God, follow me." Matthias and his 5 sons fled to the hills and caves of the wooded Judean wilderness. Joined by a ragtag army of others like them, simple farmers dedicated to the laws of Moses, armed only with spears and bows and arrows and rocks from the terrain, the Maccabees came to be known, and they fought a guerrilla war against the well-trained, well-equipped, seemingly endless forces of the mercenary Syrian army. And they were ruthless. Yet the Maccabees prevailed. In 3 years, the Maccabees cleared the way back to the Temple Mount, which they then reclaimed. They cleaned the temple and dismantled the defiled altar and constructed a new one in its place. 3 years to the day after Antiochus's mad rampage, the Maccabees held a dedication, which is Hanukkah, of the temple with a proper sacrifice, rekindling the gold menorah and an 8-day celebration and praise to God. Proper Jewish worship practices had been restored. Perhaps the most famous part of the story is what happened next. That tiny jar of oil kept those candles burning for a full 8 days. And so Hanukkah today is often referred to as the Festival of Lights. We live in a world darkened by confusion and despair. We live also, you and I, in a world of abundant light. Sometimes the light seems to go out, but I am here to testify, the light never goes out. We bring light to one another when we gather, when we light our words, and with our deeds, the lamp of love. When we speak our truth that all beings in this world are worthy of honor, we share that light. Darkness cannot drive out darkness, Dr. King said. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, he said. Only love can do that. Whatever life may bring, it is my hope, for the sake of our children and for our world, that we will let love lead our lives, and wherever we go, give light. Amen, and blessed be. This week, we light the Advent candle for love and the candle for hope. May you find hope planted like seeds, waiting to bloom.
furrows be glad, the earth is bare. One more seed is planted there. Give up your strength, the seed to nourish, that in course the flower may flourish.
People look east and see
People look east, love the roses on the way.
The service is done, yet we remain connected. Connected by our concern, by our compassion, our faith, and our unified desire to change the world. Friends, remember that connection. Hold it tightly against your heart until we are gathered together again. As you move into the week ahead, be strong, be well, be true, and be loving. Amen, and blessed be.
Let Christmas come, its story told, when days are short and winds are cold. Let Christmas come, its lovely song, when evening's soon and night is long. Let Christmas come, its great star glow, on quiet city parks of snow. Let Christmas come, its table gleam,